Welcome again to the San Diego Opera Podcast. My guest today is Jill Grove, mezzo-soprano, singing the role of Amneris in Aida.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, and welcome to San Diego. I know this is your debut.
It is.
You're a Southern California resident, though, I noticed.
I am?
Are you?
No.
Not anymore?
No, I used to be. I used to live in LA.
Okay. Well, then I can say that you used to live in Studio City. I'm not going to reveal it.
I did used to live in Studios. I now live in Santa Fe.
So
now I am
wonderful.
a mountain girl.
Oh,
Yes.
that's great.
Yeah.
And so do you do a lot of singing in Santa Fe? Does that
once
happen?
every season, every couple of seasons, yeah. I mean, every once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm not a regular.
Such a beautiful place.
It's gorgeous.
It must be very refreshing to live.
It is.
Like
I miss the water, though, so I'm truly enjoying myself here.
Cool. Great. Well, you're from Texas, is that right?
I am.
And how did you get into singing in the first place? What's the story?
What is the story? I grew up playing tennis. I did not really do much musical stuff. Went to college, found there was a voice teacher there. My friends were in choir. Voice teacher found me and said, if you want to take some lessons, I think that's interesting voice you got there. It was loud and a little unruly. And that sort of started, it just sort of fell into one thing after another. I did not grow up with opera. I did not.
Interesting.
My family, it wasn't around. It didn't play on Saturday afternoons, from the Met. I had no idea that even existed.
You know what?
It's
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
No idea.
I didn't hear the Saturday.
I didn't sit around with my family. No.
Yeah.
We were out playing tennis.
That was an Italian back east tradition.
Yes. That didn't happen in Galveston, Texas, really.
And not in California very much either.
But yeah, so it just sort of all fell into place. And
what was your very first role on stage? Be it high school, middle school, whatever.
My very
college.
First role on stage would probably been in the chorus of Carmen.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to the end and I had no idea that she died. Because why do I know? I learned the score and, I learned what I was supposed to learn. And then I was standing there and I was like, oh, she died? That's awful. And then, that was my career. That was the beginning of my career.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Part of it is getting the stage bug and enjoying
absolutely.
being on stage. And
once I found the stage, I sort of found where I was meant to be.
Yeah.
I was a very shy child, very uncomfortable in her own skin and her own being, and I just didn't fit in with the people I was growing up with, and I just, And then I found the stage, and it's like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
That's it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So.
Terrific. I'd like to take a little bit of a detour, because we've been spending an awful lot of time in this series, as you folks know, on Aida itself, on vocal technique, on a little bit of the history of the opera and the story. I'm going to talk about the opera business today. How is it out there right now?
It's tricky. When I first started some years ago, it was an abundance of work.
Really?
And yes.
You had no problem finding
I had no problem finding
jobs.
work. I went straight from a young artist program, graduate school, young artist program, straight into working, pretty much full career, full time. I've never had another job. I've never had to supplement my income any other way. But these past few years have hurt, and so many companies are struggling. So many, especially smaller companies, regional companies. And then the whole art form is starting to change as well. And
in what ways do you think?
Well, I think the visual aspect, and I know that there are a lot of people that have heard a lot about the visual aspects of opera and the HT productions, and I love the HT productions. I think they're fantastic. But I think that what I hope for them as they continue is that they draw a new audience into the opera and not just sort of give the already opera fans a place to go so that they don't have to go to their regional opera.
See, I'm afraid the latter is what's happening.
Yes, unfortunately.
And that scares me because, I love to go to the HD broadcast and see something new. I will not spend my Saturday morning going to see yet another Traviata or yet another
Totally.
Rigoletto or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But I went out of my way to see Renee Fleming's Rosenkavalier because I'd never seen it.
Right.
Or one or two of the new Ring operas. But I always see very many of the same people.
Same people, I bet that.
And I see people who either can't afford to come to San Diego Opera anymore, or just have given up because they think that experience is better than actually seeing it in the house, and I can't understand that.
I know, but we are a culture of this sort of media involvement, you know, and so I find it's difficult because then you're not funding the small regional companies,
right?
With your opera fans, because they can go to the movies. And they can sit in comfortable chairs and have popcorn
and leave and come back.
And
not have a problem with that. So, can you describe as an audience member who also has a lot of knowledge about what it is that goes into being on stage and being backstage, describe as an audience member the difference between seeing the Metropolitan Opera in all its glory on video in a movie theater, and going to a regional company and seeing and hearing the music live?
Well, it's just two different experiences. Because one, there's a camera involved, and it's like a barrier between you and the artist, or the music and the orchestra, and but when you're there live, you have the smells, and you have the atmosphere, and you have all this energy running around from the stage, from the orchestra, from the audience. And it's kind of amazing, whereas I find that the HD broadcast and watching it in a theater is sort of sterile. It's sort of, it's beautiful, and I really don't, the outcome of them, they are beautiful productions.
Oh, yeah.
There's absolutely nothing bad about them.
But you're once removed
from it, and so you're not really going to get the full experience of a live event.
Well, and you must find as a performer that it takes two to tango, right? Yeah. So when you're on stage, you are absolutely riding a wave of energy from the audience.
Oh my gosh.
And the audience is riding your wave of excitement.
Yes.
And that's that essential thing really I miss at an HD broadcast.
Right. Because as an audience member and as a performer, it's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Those performances. And you can go and, as a performer, do exactly the same thing exactly the next night. It's a completely different energy.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the people that are in the audience.
That's kind of the neat thing about working in an opera company is, for instance, we just did Murder in the Cathedral by Pizzetti, which, we'll never see again, probably. I hope we will, but I sincerely think we won't. I saw every performance, but every performance was different.
It was different.
It's the same piece, but every
same
night there's a different energy. The audience is different. The artists are different. The orchestra is different.
I mean, everything's different.
It's so cool.
So
I love that about it.
I love that. And if we could infuse that back into this base of the opera fan.
Yeah.
And get the experience of actually going to the theater.
Right.
I think that would.
It's very special.
Help.
I find it interesting that you, as an established artist, are saying that it's been dry and it's difficult out there to get work. I have young artists telling me, the only way they're making a living in New York in order to keep auditioning is having a quote unquote RJ, a real job.
A real job.
They
have to temp, or they have to do something.
So I think especially for young singers who are trying to break in, it must be extraordinarily difficult.
It must be hard because the established singers, because the work is so scarce, the established singers are doing more. They're doing the work that you would typically, say 10 years ago, had hired young artists to do it. Mm-hmm. Well, now the established singer is saying, no, I'll do that role. I have no problem, especially being, a mezzo or, somebody that does do secondary compromario roles. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I'll do that. I'll do that maid because, Mama needs the money. And
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Whereas 10
Sure,
years ago, it was
yeah.
like, no, I don't want to do another another Ina role. I don't want to do another maid role.
Right.
Because there were so many other things coming. And now you've got established artists that are kind of filling up all those roles.
Well, I remember you as Zia.
Oh,
In
my
the
God.
Johnny Skiki in L.A.,
Good fun.
which there's a great example. Small opera, one act,
Right.
Puccini,
Right.
small role.
Small role.
But you can make a big statement in
Yeah.
a tiny role like that,
You
and
can.
you were wonderful.
You
It was
can.
fabulous.
I mean, which is also another reason it's fun. It's fun.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
now you, and also you're in the Met broadcast of Peter Grimes.
Yes.
I forget the name of the character.
Auntie.
Auntie,
Peter Grimes,
who
yes.
is also quite an interesting character.
Yes.
You can bring so much.
Yes, I
to
love
those.
singing Auntie. I'm singing Auntie in Toronto in the fall. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the music. I will do Peter Grimes anywhere. I don't
Whenever,
care.
wherever.
Whenever.
A
It's
great
like,
piece.
give me Grimes. I
Great
love
piece.
Grimes. I love Britain.
So now you're doing Amneris.
Yes.
We will just talk a little bit about
All right,
Aida.
let's talk a little bit. 'Cause
just a tiny
we're
bit.
here.
But Amneris,
Yes.
and it's a role you do quite a bit.
I have done her. This is my 5th production. I don't tend to do it a number of times in a row, so I do it
you
once.
space it out.
It gets spaced out.
Sure.
For some reason.
Oh, so
It
it's not
doesn't fill up
because
my calendar.
it's not because you want
No, it
to
has nothing to do with
take
me.
time off from
No,
it. Or,
no, no.
mhm.
No. Somehow my calendar gets filled up with more German, Russian, Czech sort of stuff, more so than Italian. But and so each time is a little new. It's not like I've done 1,000 Amnerises and they're all the same. It's all it's all different.
So, a favorite role? You enjoy it?
Favorite role? I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
What is it that draws you to it?
The drama, the music is phenomenal.
It's pretty glorious.
Especially
I think you get the
for
best.
mezzo, I think she gets the best music.
The best scene.
The best scene of the judgment scene.
Absolutely.
It is the pinnacle of all mezzo.
It really is.
Scenes.
It's just amazing.
So
And I
love
think because of the variety of drama and lyricism and ensemble and aria that Amneris gets to do, I think it's probably more challenging than some of those other mezzo contralto roles that Verdi wrote.
Completely, it's very challenging. You got to have a lot of colors, and you have to have a lot of stamina because she's out there.
And you've got that.
I do. I do have it.
There you
no,
go.
I do. Yes. It sits well. It's a good role. It's a nice role for me.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to San Diego.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Come back.
Well, okay. Did you hear that?
Yep.
Yes,
yep.
I will come back anytime.
We'll make sure Ian sees it.
Yes, make sure
All right.
Ian sees this. Anything you want to do, Ian, give me a call.
Thanks, dear.
No, thank you.